So hello fellow Earthlings, this is Earthling 6455463728 and comedian Whitney Cummings. I wanted to talk about her. I've been watching some of her videos on her channel, and I know of course about the TV show that she had, and this comedian Chris D'Elia, I think, who had a bit of a scandal where people were suggesting, people who were young at the time were suggesting that he'd been grooming them. And of course she came out and said that really wasn't good. She was really disappointed and da-da-da. Anyway, about Whitney herself. As I would have mentioned in another video, I had no idea how rough she had it as a kid. I mean, I recall hearing that she had been a sexual abuse victim, but then I mentioned that she had what she described as third-degree burns when she was like 9 or 10, because the house used to be so cold that she would get dressed on the stove in the middle of the 4 burners, and how she, what she was wearing caught fire one day and she ended up burning herself, and she had scars to show it. And I thought that was like, whoa, that was really crazy. That any kid would have to go through, number one, just, being so cold that you figured that going on the stove made sense, and not having supervision for somebody to tell you, hey, that's a bad idea. And then getting these horrible burns that you go to school with, that the people pull you out of school because, they look so bad, and not being allowed to cry. And then, she described the effect of her on as an adult, where anytime things go really bad, that's when she feels calm. That's when she feels like she knows what to do, because when things are okay, she feels like she's always waiting for the other shoe to drop. So when there was a fire in California where she lived, and she was concerned about the animals that might be in danger because of the fire, she was heading towards the fire to try to find animals to save. And she was like, why is everybody leaving this area? They should be going to try to find these animals to save. And I thought that was kind of like, it's nice, it's good that animals have somebody out there looking for them, but at the same time it was just crazy that that's when somebody feels comforted that something isn't going to come up and get them, because they're in the thing right now, so almost like nothing worse can happen. And I read that a dog bit off her ear, she said, to the point where it was hanging like a door knocker. And I guess obviously it was reattached, because she doesn't look like she's missing an ear now. And I'm like, what the actual heck? I guess this is one of these dogs that she was trying to save or something. So I thought that was all pretty interesting. The next thing is that, Whitney Cummings is not unattractive. She's an attractive woman. So of course, to put together this thing where she has her ear hanging off and it got reattached, and she went through so much trauma as a kid, and then on top of that, when she was talking to Olivia Moon, they were both recounting this facial treatment. I guess it's a beauty treatment that they had that was so incredibly painful. And I'm just thinking, okay, Olivia Moon herself is, again, not unattractive. But to think that these are the things that women would go through in order to make sure that they can hold on to their beauty, I'm like, yikes again. I mean, I can understand that because I exercise and I diet, one might say, but that's, like how people say that's a way of life. You don't want to, it's not a temporary diet that you're on, it's a way of life. So yeah, it's a way of life. I know how much calories I have allotted in order to maintain the weight that I have now, and that's what I stick to, whether my stomach hurts a bit or it doesn't. I might eat a piece of bread or something like that. So I get that, but I don't get that Okay, this is a really painful treatment that her and Olivia Moon were talking about on her podcast. And they had to go back for repeated treatments. And not only that, they had electrolysis themselves as well. So they were talking about the electrolysis treatments that, again, painful thing. Underarms, legs, genital areas. And Whitney was talking about the fact that she has hairy knuckles, so she has to shave her knuckles. And I'm like, OMG, oh my God, the amount of pain that you seem to be going through to maintain your good looks is just crazy stuff. I don't like shaving, but I don't know about going through with electrolysis. I mean, it all really seems like a lot to do, in order to maintain one's beauty. Another thing that jumped out at me was that Whitney Cummings, she was talking about, she was on a trip with this other comedian. Can't really remember his name, but he has a name that just sounds like if it's made up or something. Anyway, she was taking a picture with this guy, and apparently, I think it was on Twitter or something maybe, she put a caption that said something like, trying to make herself seem less than. She was like, from this angle, you can see my, whatever, how my nose looks so funny or whatever it was. And the guy, I think his name is Ron Funches actually. The guy is like, why do you do that? Why do you make little of yourself? He said, I know girls that look up to you. Don't do that. And I think at this time she was talking to comedian Bobby Lee, and together they were talking about the fact that at one point she had called him out because apparently he would beat himself up maybe before or after he got off stage, but people really, really liked his act. And I guess she would see him belittling himself, and she approached him and she said, listen, if you weren't funny, I understand, but the way that he puts it is, I'm done with this. Stop doing this. I'm over this. Stop hurting yourself. Stop belittling yourself, whatever the case might be. And she said, she was telling him the story with, I think it's Ron Funches, like I said. And she's like, yeah, I got it. I understood what he was saying, which is, don't belittle yourself. I know that this is your internalized diatribe that other people have put on you, that we all have, that it's the chorus line that we hear in our minds on our own. And she was saying, well, I got it. I completely understood what he was saying. Well, she got it, but obviously she can't stop doing it, I think. Because in either that particular episode, nope, it was a different episode. I don't think she would have done it. What she said was that she made a joke. And I guess for some people it was funny, but for me it was like a heart-stopping, oh my God joke. Where she said basically, I'm going to shut my whore mouth and blah, 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 blah. Ha ha. And she laughed. And I was just like, what are you saying? You're going to shut your whore mouth? That is just crazy to me. Listen, when I'm watching Whitney's show, it's funny because sometimes she'll laugh, haha, at stuff that Benton or somebody else will tell her, and it might seem like if she is just laughing at everything that they say, but it feels genuine. She stops quickly, but it seems genuine. So it's not like a fake one, but it's kind of strange in terms of it's a quick duration, and then she goes on with whatever she's saying, but it really seems real. But when she said what she said about shutting, I don't even want to say it myself. It just feels so repulsive, so horrible. I can't even, maybe if in the height of passion and, people are saying whatever crazy things that we end up saying, I suppose somebody might utter something like that. But on a normal, everyday, where you're not like ramped up into some kind of sexual frenzy, I can't imagine making that joke in public in the light of day. Well, of course, I'm a guy, but still, maybe that's what women joke about, but that seems so much worse even than, a female dog. That just seems like, oh my God, like bad. And I guess maybe that's just me. It was like funny, fun. What the hell did you just say? So, I get, like I said, in the example that I gave with Run Funches, that she understood it. But it's like getting somebody telling you, you really need to stop drinking. Or you really need to stop taking Coke. Or you really need to stop injecting yourself with opium. I get it. But some of these things, they are who we are at the end of the day. And that just really struck me. It just struck me in the throat. And I couldn't breathe. So, aside from any of that, and I'm trying to push myself to go past that because I'd probably spend all day just talking about how horrible that sounded to me. I guess having a really attractive face helps with a podcast, because when you see that face, you want to stop and listen to what she's saying. And she doesn't really disappoint because she is entertaining. I don't know that she's like super funny. I think Bobby Lee and the stuff that he said about black people being oily and that whole exposition, that was really kind of crazy. And but anyway, I think that Whitney, she had this lady on her podcast, a black lady, and they were talking about basically it was going over all these books that she'd read and all this information that she'd gathered about what to do and how to help and being a good ally and stuff. Now, I'm just wondering why Benton was not there. I know at times she has said Benton is from the South, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know if that had something to do with it, but anyway, she likes people. She's a proponent of women. She stands for women. She stands for animals. And she's funny, and she has this weird robot. And I guess, I don't know if she mentioned it, if she really feels beholden on to the establishment anymore. Because obviously Joe Rogan has said many times he doesn't care about acting or in anything. Bobby Lee mentioned that, he does like to act and he does like to do other things besides being on his podcast. She has mentioned how much money apparently she's now making. So I don't know if she wants to go back into the normal way of being a comedian. I think Andrew Schultz has said that, he doesn't care about any of that anymore to an extent. But Whitney Cummings, she gets my thumbs up. I like her. I'll probably listen to some of her podcasts. And that's about it. Peace, people. Be nice to each other.